I've been going through these a couple of times, and I want to say like this version here had the best for moving and all that kind of stuff. But then when I tried to throw in like zoom and pan and all that kind of stuff, it really I started having some errors. The other thing I want to show is this code here. I don't have a view controller. I don't have the launch screen. So basically, I created an app way back when, and then I deleted like all the stuff that they give you, and then I put stuff back in, and I was pretty much just using the scenes. But it really, if you go all the way back, originally everything was like this, right? So I didn't have like an SKS file, but I wanted to be able to use those. So these, I would kind of put them in as I would go. But I'm trying to do it as Apple-like as possible. Maybe not the best way. So now I'm keeping these things in. So like here, there's an actions, but I'm not using any actions. I barely know how to use this, but I know like you can define something and then you can use it versus just saying I want to do it programmatically, just like you can with the tiles. With that said, this game view controller bit, it made it a little simpler. So over here is where, I'm doing some of the pinching, the zooming, all that stuff, rather than doing it in this thing or this thing over here. So this is pretty simple at this point in time. There isn't much. The other thing is I played a lot with having the different pieces here with anchors and placement. So like the scene, he has an anchor point that's in the center. The world, which just is basically an empty node to contain everything, he's at 0, 0, and then the base map is at 0, 0, but the anchor point is back in the center. And I'm hoping that I may move this anchor point to 0, 0. I don't know. But I'm hoping that when I go back and have to do all this math, like that was over here, like, I've got all this debug code, right? Trying to figure out what's what. That might make some of this math simpler. Okay. I don't know. And I think, some of it was because I'm going from a guide where I believe the pixels and the cell coordinates are all in quadrant 4. So like if you let me explain how to say quadrant 4. Let's look at this. So like 0, 0 is here in the center, right? Up here it's quadrant 1. So as you go to the right and you go up, your values increase. Values of X increase, values of Y increase. If you're in quadrant 4, X is increasing as you're going to the right, but it's decreasing as you're going down. And so if I remember correctly, that Red Blob Games, it's not exactly clear, to be honest with you. I mean, like, you're definitely seeing cells go this direction, but when he talks about the back to pixel coordinates, I'm not sure. It's I think it might be the same. He doesn't say. He just, this is the calculation. And I didn't go through trying to verify it. But I think that's what it is. I know that when I was doing this earlier, I was just like, oh my God, this just ain't working. So I gave up and said, let me go back, put the pan, zoom, yada, yada, yada. The other thing I want to show, which is a little kind of weird, and I'll show this demo. This is pretty simple. When you make the tiles, by convention, I'm naming this and this the same, and that comes up over here. I think this pane is called the inspector. But you go through yada yada yada. This is where you can change that. You can click here sometimes, yeah, and change it there, but it's easier to use it over here. The other thing is these tiles are now hexagonal flat, whereas down here up until this time it was all pointy. I think this is the first one that I did as flat. So there's another reason for that I won't go into. All right, so now when you have these entries here, I don't know why currently the colors are not correct. So like the dirt, instead of being brown, it's blue, and the water, which is blue, is the other. Here it's blue, but up here it's not. I suspect, I'm not certain, if you go here, pardon me, you go to the game scene, and where I put this in, what's weird to me, and I don't understand it, but when you can pick your tiles, when you create a tile set over, like when I created this, I created it by going File, New, From Reference, and then I'm selecting Sprite Kit tile set. I thought that would all be relative to this project within this larger workspace. I think these things are going outside of the projects. I think they're workspace wide, because that's why this thing is named HTS PG1 versus just hex tile sets, because I think that was the problem. Anyway, don't know. But here's the deal. One of the other things you have to do is up here. This scene here has to match the name of this guy here. There's some, but I've discovered that back in the other one. I also had to put the module in on the other one, but I don't have to on this guy, so whatever, that's that. What else can I say? I don't really know how I'm going to put, at this point in time, like these red bullseye, blue rect, white bullseye. I don't know how I'm going to do that yet. Should I be doing it in, let's see. Here they were separate, so like the blue unit was there, the move marker was separate. Should I just create a different sprite atlas to put them in as like an overlay? I'm not exactly sure. Here they're just separate. Okay, so that's that. Let's just run this. I also don't know why. What do we got here? What's the warning here? Okay, since I've got it up there, I just added a label. If you can't ever, if you're trying to do, scroll up, if you're ever over here and you can't, like, there's no plus symbol here, over here there are plus symbols, right? So I can go plus sprite atlas, yada yada yada, image set versus a sprite atlas. So this is a sprite atlas. This would be a, if it's just up here, it would be an image set, but that's an icon. I'm not sure. All right. With that said, if you ever want to get something over here, there is no plus. I can't add these two, but you pull up this library, which pulls up this thing. And what's weird, as soon as you drag these things over, like, that's how I would put that tile map node, this screen will go away. It would be great if it, and it sees stuff that I've done. So that might be in the project. These things like mountain hex, that's when you do the grassland hex. That's when you create the stuff in, what do you call it? The demo app, demo sprite kit. These are ones that I've just created using GIMP. Okay, so let's just run this. Also, this here is supposed to be the viewable area, and you can see that's kind of legit, right? Up here in this corner, there'll be a little bit of the dirt, and there it is. This is kind of in the center of the intersection of the water, and it's showing it before it gets narrow, and then down here it goes down into that corner. But if you were to pan it, and I'm just clicking on it, I haven't got any bounds on this. I'm not sure what's up with that, but I can pan it off. That would be great if it would keep it bound there. That'll be something I gotta figure out. But that's that corner. And if you move it back and you want to zoom, you hold the Option key down and you get these points. So that's like 2 fingers going in. And that's like the zoomed out. And let's see what it does when we do a rotate. So that's another thing, rotate works. Whoops. That's much, you would think it would zoom out more than that, right? I think that's my code is off. That's that, at least that part is working. I had a hard time with the other one where it would like come up on the side, and I'll show that real quick. Let's see if I have it. Let's go to stop this one, SE3, see if that works. And I don't want it to be, it's going on my phone. Stop that. I use my phone mostly, and I only use this when I'm trying to do the screenshots. So, simply so because it works faster. Yeah, so like the zoom doesn't work at all. This bit works, and this is a very small map. And if I get one more, yeah. So see, this one was messed up. Home. Yeah, so it's not quite right, but this stuff worked. Now I got to get this, which also has touches and stuff, in this other code.